The handstand, when you train it progressively, is one of the most powerful tools for your body and your brain.
All right, stop. Before you attempt this handstand tutorial with like 120,000 views, I need to show you something. As a physical therapist, I have some concerns. Take a look at this and this. This is what happens to your lumbar spine if you do this wrong. And she's teaching you wrong. Now here's the thing. There are real benefits to handstands, and this tutorial has some excellent progressions. But implying that everyone should be doing these every day, that's where we need to talk. So I'm going to watch this tutorial and pause at some key points and give you an actual PT's perspective on what works, what doesn't, and who should never attempt this. Let's do this.
It's not just about balancing upside down. It's about bulletproofing every single joint in your body, rewiring your nervous system, overcoming self-limiting beliefs, and keeping your brain young through skill training. And the best part, you don't even have to balance in a handstand in order to get all of the benefits. It is a full body diagnostic. It reveals everything: weak wrists, stiff shoulders, unstable core, fragile spine, even fear that lives in your nervous system. When you learn to handstand, you're not just training strength, you are training control, alignment, mobility, proprioception, and awareness. That's why I call the handstand one of the most powerful movement medicines that you can take daily.
All right, pump the brakes. Bulletproof every joint in the body. First off, bulletproofing your joints isn't really a thing. And like half the joints in your body aren't addressed by handstands at all. Your knees, your ankles, your hips, not involved. Unless you're saying just existing is giving proprioceptive input, and in that case, living is bulletproofing your joints. Now, onto the brain health claim. She's partially right. Multiple systematic reviews and meta-analyses have backed up the idea that exercise supports brain health. The thing is, all exercise does that. Running, swimming, walking the dog, it's all the same. You can check the references in the pinned comment below. Let me give credit where it's due. Handstands do stress the shoulder joint in an isometric contraction with the hands above the head. This would improve proprioception, which would be useful for overhead athletes like tennis players, baseball players, swimmers, etc. But I'm already concerned about safety, because this position can carry some serious risks for damaging specific groups of people. But we'll get to that later. Let's keep watching.
Let's start at the top. The full handstand balance position itself. Think about what's happening when you are in that position. Your wrists are holding your entire body weight. Your elbows are locked and strong. Your shoulders are in full overhead flexion, pushing the ground away. Your scapula are stable and alive. Your spine has to organize into true neutral position. Your ribs tucked down, your pelvis stacked, your glutes and your core on. Your hips and even your toes are reaching into alignment. It's a full checklist. Every joint loaded, every system switched on. There is nothing left behind. Step 1, floor alignment drills. We start on the floor. Before we even ever go upside down, we need to teach the body what a straight line actually feels like. The front body line hold. Lay face down, arms reaching overhead, glutes squeezed, legs strong. If you cannot organize here, you won't organize upside down. From these positions, you want to try and lift your hands off the ground while keeping the body line locked. The back body line hold. Flip onto your back, arms overhead, ribs tucked down, lower back pressing into the floor. This is the hollow body position. The wall body line. Stand with your back against the wall. Heels, glutes, upper back, and wrists touching.
Okay, I have to stop here because this section has some genuinely good stuff, mixed with some dangerous form errors. First, what she got right. Starting on the floor in the prone position is textbook progression. It's excellent. If you can't stabilize laying down, then you definitely can't stabilize upside down. But here's the problem. These exercises need to be very precise. If you look at her pelvis, while she's doing that swimmer exercise, every time she raises her arm, she's pulling into an anterior pelvic tilt. Imagine a bucket of water as your pelvis. Every time you go into an anterior pelvic tilt, it pours forward out your belly. This puts a great deal of pressure on the posterior elements of your lumbar vertebrae. Over time, this can lead to something called anterolisthesis, where one vertebrae slips forward over the top of the one below it. If you have a history of contact sports, gymnastics, or weightlifting, you already may have microfractures in that posterior element of your spine called a pars defect. adding additional anterior pelvic tilt to a pars defect and anterolisthesis runs the risk of a full-blown fracture called spondylolisthesis. Let me remind you, that's a fracture next to your spinal cord. Onto the hollow body exercise. I call that the dying bug in my clinic. Excellent exercise. I love it. It's great for core stabilization. The problem is, she described pressing your low back completely into the floor. This is an outdated cue for something called a posterior pelvic tilt. Imagine that same bucket of water being your pelvis, now pouring out your low back. That's kind of what's happening to your lumbar discs when you go into a posterior pelvic tilt and apply stress. This can lead to something called a herniated disc, which then presses up against your spinal cord or one of your nerve roots. This will send shooty, burny pain down your leg, possibly leading to numbness, tingling, and additional weakness in your lower extremities. Kinda not what you're looking for when it comes to working out. The fix for both is simple. Do the exercise in a neutral spine position. If you cannot control your spine in neutral, if you find yourself falling into an anterior or posterior pelvic tilt, you're not ready for this exercise. If you find that swimmers are too hard, try doing an exercise called a bird dog, where you're doing the same basic movements in a 4-point or quadruped position. You'll find that it's easier to stabilize your pelvis. If the dying bug is too difficult, break it down into individual body parts. Lift one arm, then one leg, then alternating arms and legs. Build up to these harder versions of these exercises before you attempt to move further.
Step 2, wrist prep. On all fours, you're going to shift weight forward and backwards, side to side. Turn your fingers in and out, backwards, forwards. Lift your palms while keeping the fingers grounded. These small movements strengthen the connective tissue, teach your wrists to handle load, and build resilience. Step 3, shoulder opening. Locked shoulders are the #1 limiting factor in handstands. If your arms cannot go overhead without your ribs flaring, you don't have the range that you need. Do wall slides with your back flat against the wall, arms bent, sliding overhead without arching. Do puppy poses, chest dropping towards the floor while arms stay active. Do wall reaches, teaching overhead flexion under control.
All right, quick pause here because I need to address some terminology issues that are raising some red flags. She just said locked shoulders are the #1 limiting factor in handstands. I don't think there's any research backing that up, because while shoulder mobility is definitely a factor, it's not definitively the only one or the most important. Core strength, balance, wrist mobility are all going to be equally important. Next, the term shoulder opening. That's not a technical anatomical description. If you don't use precise language, clients and patients aren't going to know precisely what you're trying to have them do. This is why terminology matters. Also, finally, strengthening connective tissue. There are 5 types of connective tissue in your body: bone, blood, fat, cartilage, and lymphatic. Stretching your wrists doesn't strengthen any of those things. When someone doesn't use technical terminology properly, it makes me question their credentials.
Step 4, box handstands. Place your feet on a box or a bench, hands on the ground. Walk your hands in so that your hips stack above the shoulders. Step 5, the 45-degree chest to wall handstand. The next progression, you're going to walk your feet up the wall so that your body is at a 45-degree angle, chest facing the wall. Step 6, chest to wall handstand. And now the gold standard drill, full chest to wall. Walk your feet up until your body is completely vertical, toes pointed, chest close to the wall.
All right, I'll give credit where it's due. That progression is solid from the box handstands to the 45 degrees all the way to the wall. If I was teaching handstands, that's how I would teach that element, with a spotter. But here's another critical element. She never tells you how to know when you're ready to move to the next section. She doesn't tell you how long to do each one of these elements. She doesn't tell you what mastery looks and feels like. Without these benchmarks, someone is going to rush through this workout and possibly get hurt. So here's an idea. Try each position for 30 to 60 seconds. 3 times. If you can hold pelvic neutral for 3 sets of 30 to 60 seconds and control your descent, then you're ready to move on to the next exercise.
So why does this matter? The handstand isn't just a trick, it is a full body reset. It fixes your wrists by loading them, it opens and strengthens your shoulders, it aligns your spine and teaches your core to stabilize. It makes your nervous system resilient, and because it's a skill, it rewires your brain. Every rep is neuroplasticity, keeping you sharp, focused, and adaptable. And here's the key, you don't have to be a gymnast, you don't even have to do the full balance.
Most important to this tutorial, she never mentioned who should never be doing this exercise. There are things called contraindications. What's a contraindication, you might ask? A contraindication is a hard stop. It is someone who should never do some certain intervention. In the case of handstands, those include glaucoma, high blood pressure, a history of traumatic brain injury, osteoporosis, or you're currently undergoing rehabilitation for any of the above, or a shoulder, elbow, wrist, or neck injury. This isn't me being overly cautious. This is basic risk management, and it should be in every tutorial associated with any kind of exercise. The fact that 120,000 people have seen this tutorial and might be attempting these exercises already at the time of recording without this warning concerns me.
Every single regression, from floor drills to wall holds, carries the same medicine. 5 to 10 minutes a day, that's it. Start with the floor, build up to the wall, and stay consistent.
All right, here's my final takeaway as a physical therapist. This program has some excellent progressions. The floor exercises are good. The wall exercises are good. The transition from box handstands to full handstands, all good. But, and this is a big but, she's exaggerating benefits, downplaying risks, and oversimplifying technique. Handstands aren't going to bulletproof every joint in your body. They're not going to fix your entire body. And they're definitely not safe for everyone to do every day. The exercises she showed are valuable core and shoulder stabilization exercises, but you need proper form cues. Otherwise, you're just reinforcing dangerous movement patterns. Now here's what I need from you. If you've tried handstands and you felt a sharp pain in your wrists, shoulders, elbows, low back, drop a comment below. I'll personally review your symptoms and tell you if you're making one of the form mistakes we talked about today. If you have one of those contraindications I mentioned, glaucoma, traumatic brain injury, high blood pressure, drop a comment saying contraindication. We can talk about safer alternatives that don't run the risk of handstands. I'm building this channel to be your bullshit detector for viral fitness advice, breaking down popular fitness videos that rack up millions of views, and separating what actually works from what'll land you in my clinic. If you want to see more physical therapist reactions to viral fitness trends, hit that subscribe button right now, because I'll be tackling another movement tutorial that's got some serious red flags. Thanks for watching, and remember, just because something has 120,000 plus views doesn't mean it's right for you. Stay safe, and I'll catch you on the next one.